Hi and welcome back to another episode of Where the Soul Flowers Grow, my podcast where I share my own personal journey with you regarding my house, me buying a house on the Swedish countryside, moving here, but also my entire personal growth journey. As you know by now, I don't live in the house anymore. It turned out that I wasn't able to fix it up for the winter, so this is not just a house journey, this is a personal growth journey, and the reason I'm sharing it with you is to give you inspiration for your own journey, because that is something I value so much, hearing other people's journeys through life, their thoughts, their experiences, what they make of things, basically how they live their life. So it gives me a kind of something to contrast my own thoughts to and be like, oh, is that how I see things, or do I see things differently? So welcome, it's so good to be back. I've really been looking forward to this podcast, to recording it. I'm recording it from the new apartment, as you can see if you're watching this on YouTube, and yes, it is so good to be back and in this renewed form. To me, it feels renewed now that I've come to the conclusion that, okay, I'm really just doing this because it's joy for me, not because I want to run a business. If you want to know more in detail about that, maybe you want to check out my last vlog where I caught you guys up on all those things, so I don't want to repeat myself here. In today's episode, I want to talk about something that you asked me, which I think is a very good question if you're considering either starting a YouTube channel or a podcast, or in some form sharing your own thoughts or your own life. And the question was, what needs are being met through creating vlogs and sharing them, and how? And that's a very good question, and it's actually several questions, because what needs are being met through creating the vlogs and how, I would use that as one question. And the other one, what needs are being met through sharing them and how. And to give you a little bit more, I will read more of where this question came from. It was in response to my newsletter that announced the vlog where I'm sharing all the why I can't live at the house anymore. And what was written was, I often feel like I might like to do something similar because I'm wanting to be seen and valued, etc. And I wonder every time if it would really be the most effective method for me personally. So I'd love to hear more about your experience in that regard. And I think these are such good questions because all of this does play a role. And these, I imagine if you are interested in maybe starting your own channel, starting your own podcast, maybe this is something, one of the reasons why you want to do it, because you want to feel seen and valued, and you imagine that that's what it's like. And for me, it's a little bit of, yes, that plays a role, and it's probably, I wouldn't say it's what started it, but yeah, the notion of being valued and liked for what we put out there definitely plays a role. So I want to break this down for you today, how I feel about this, if anything has changed maybe. And so let's start with number one, what needs are being met through creating the vlogs, and I will add the podcasts because those are the two formats I do, besides from the shorts. And how. Creating the vlogs for me started because I enjoyed watching other people's vlogs. That was the one part. And the second was, I actually took a filmmaking class at university during my exchange year here in Sundsvall. This is how I first came to Sweden, by the way. I had a great filmmaking class, or it was actually called narrative studies in media or something. I can't really remember, but we were filmmaking and I enjoyed it so much. I felt like, oh my gosh, I wish I didn't like my majors, which was cultural studies and philosophy. I wish I didn't like those so much, because then I could just use this as okay, I'm dropping out of my my program and I'm gonna go to film school because I really liked it. So for me, taking up vlogging was a little bit like reconnecting with that joy for filmmaking, or not a little bit, it was a lot, because like these kind of videos, the talking heads or the podcasts, I mean, there isn't a lot of filmmaking involved. I'm sure I have to set up the camera and make sure the sound is okay. Yeah, so that's why I started vlogging, that it felt like a cool way to reconnect with this joy for filmmaking, and in a format that I enjoy watching. And there was just a curiosity to see like, how would I film a vlog? And there is kind of a, like, I wouldn't say love-hate, but like editing vlogs, in the beginning it was exhausting, because when you're not so experienced, like I filmed a ton of stuff, and it means that you end up sitting there with like 4 hours of material that you have to go through, because you obviously don't want your vlog to be that long, and to cut that down to maybe, like, for me, like 20 minutes is the sweet spot. I'm fine if it's shorter, I'm fine if it's a little longer. I also have vlogs that are half an hour, and some of you watch that and enjoy that, and I watch long vlogs as well. So I guess there's no such thing as right or wrong. It has to be interesting, or you have to enjoy making it. And this is where, and now I'm getting a little on a tangent, but this is where why it's important for me that it doesn't have to be a business, because if this were a business, I would have to focus a lot more on what viewers are watching, how viewers want things to be. That kind of stresses me out. And when I can focus on how do I enjoy making this, then it's just joy, and then there is a good flow. And yeah, some of the videos then tank and don't do so well because nobody finds them very interesting besides me. And some of them just do very well, and I don't know why. I don't know what it is that I did right. And I feel like I like it that way. I don't want to have to analyze everything and optimize everything so that I will get as many subscribers as possible, or I don't know. It's a different, I think it's like the artistic approach. Like there's so many artists, like writers or filmmakers, or yeah, where I've heard in some interview or something where I heard them express, oh, I don't think about other people when I create what I create. I think about what movie do I want to create, or what book do I feel needs to be written. So I feel like I'm more in that category. So that is the need that is being met through creating the vlogs, this need for creative expression. And I would say in the podcast, it's not the creative expression in the same way, because obviously the creative process isn't in the editing and picking the music or even picking the shots. Here the creative process is that I feel like I have something that I want to say, and I want to share it with you. I want to share it with others so that you can have your own thoughts around this topic, so that you can question yourself and be like, oh, that's an interesting perspective. How do I feel about this? And of course, when you do react to it, when you do comment below my videos, it does mean a lot to me. It's always nice to get a reaction to what you put out there, and of course to get a positive reaction. But personally, I'm actually somebody who enjoys a little bit of I don't know if you could call it debate, but like who can enjoy difference in opinions. Like there was a video, like maybe two videos back, where there was actually somebody, you could get kind of offended by the way they put this. I think it was me talking about how I'm coming to the conclusion that I don't want to have children and that I want to focus on my business. And I'm not going to go too deep into that, because that's a whole nother episode in and of itself, and I might put one out there. But the point was that what they were commenting was kind of like questioning the reasons for why I chose that. And in a way you could get offended. In a way, the fact that I don't easily get offended is because I have a hard time having like a sense of self. So it's really easy for me to see the other perspective and not my own. But like everything, like in every shadow, there's also like something powerful and useful. So for me, it's like, as much as I want to learn to hold myself and hold my own opinion and my own, this is where I stand, I also want to still be able to hold the space for seeing other people's opinions. And so we had like a little bit of an interesting back and forth conversation, and I enjoy that just as much as somebody telling me just that they think what I put out is great or something. And of course, this is all to a certain degree. There was somebody else commenting where I felt like I can't even comment back. This is so, I mean, I'm really glad that they had their epiphany and insight and that they shared that in the comments section, but like some of the things they said really did offend me and did upset me. And I mean, I don't feel like deleting those kind of comments, but I just felt like I don't feel like responding to this, and I don't have to. I take the liberty of not doing that. So what I'm trying to say, if you are getting into this because you do want validation and being seen, I think if it's the only reason, it's gonna backfire, because what happens at first is you're gonna be so nervous sharing your first piece, and you're just gonna think about the horrible reactions, or what if people don't like this, what if, and what's gonna happen is you're gonna see, oh, nobody cares. I put this out there and for me it was a huge deal, and it's like maybe it gets 3 views or 12 or if even that, and it's like that will be like the first disappointment, that you think this is huge and like to the internet it's nothing. So there is like quite a while of going through that stage, and I think if your only reason is validation and wanting to be seen and valued, you're probably not going to make it through that phase. And also the other thing is that it's, and I can very much relate to this, but it's kind of dangerous to do things in order to be valued and seen, because that means you're putting that on others. It means in a way that you don't value yourself. You don't have this, I know what I value about me and I appreciate when others see that too. You're more in a space of, I don't know what my value is, so I need others' approval to feel that. So that means you will always be at the mercy of somebody else's approval. And if you don't get it, it's as if you weren't okay. And I've totally been there, and in some ways I still am. Like, I'm definitely in that category. And that is also why I know why it's kind of dangerous to have that as a motive. And I mean dangerous not in the sense of don't do it or you shouldn't do that. It's like, become very aware of when that is like a driving factor for you. You will have those kinds of experiences where not being valued or not being seen, where it becomes very obvious that how dependent your sense of self and your value is on what others think of you. And you want to get to a point where you have a sense of self. And that has been my practice lately, and I've been working on that with a coach. And of course that means becoming very aware of all the instances where I'm not looking for my own sense of self, where I am looking to others to tell me what my value or myself is. And that is it's a painful process, but at the same time it's painful because the wound is there, and going through the process, as painful as it is the healing. And of course we all need validation from others. Like, we are, as humans, are a social species. We need that. So of course putting ourselves out there, and I totally recommend that you do a vlog or a podcast. Like, I wish everybody did that and put themselves out there, because when we put ourselves out there, of course we don't only get criticized, and it's not just that nobody cares. Of course we're also visible to the ones who do share our values and our views and who resonate with who we are, and we do form connections. And I haven't even mentioned, I get some very nice comments. I really like those where somebody tells me why something resonates with them, what kind of a transition they're going through in their lives. And that really means the world to me, because I'm somebody who goes consciously through all these processes in life, or to who life is an ongoing transformation. So of course I appreciate and value connecting with people who live life that way. And that is there too. So it's really everything. Yeah, like I said, the creating part is really it's the creative thing. And so that means you have to like filmmaking. And if you don't know how, you have to enjoy getting into it. And I think you'll figure it out. And for me, it's like, even though I enjoyed it, it was still hard. And even though I had that filmmaking experiences from the university, it was still hard for me in the beginning when I picked up vlogging, and everything would take a long time. But there was just something that just wanted to do it anyways. And I think that's how you know that you have a passion for something, when the hard stuff doesn't bother you, when you want to follow through anyways. With the podcast, like I said, it's the wanting to share my thoughts, not so much anymore so that you validate me and make me feel seen, but like I said, so because I feel like I have a perspective on things that is new to a lot of people, and for some people that is interesting. Like, I always love getting a new perspective, so I like putting a new perspective out there, because I like us thinking new thoughts, because it means that we suddenly have different possibilities to act in life, and I love newness and creating something new. And I guess that was already the sharing part. So in that sense, the vlogs and the podcast, there's a similar reason for the sharing. For the vlogs, because I usually talk quite a bit in my vlogs as well. There is this aspect of sharing something new, but I guess in the vlogs it's also sharing is because it's a more visible journey. Like here on the podcast, it's all like, even though it's not necessarily abstract, but it's all very intellectual or mind-based. I'm talking to you, I'm conveying thoughts and ideas, and in the vlogs it's a lot more visual. And I like both types of transformation, so I enjoy sharing both of those. So for you to find out whether you would enjoy vlogging or making a podcast for that matter, is the best way is to do it. And like with everything, and if you realize, oh, I'm not getting the validation and it isn't fun for me to do, then you might realize that, well, you don't have enough to pull through. But maybe realize, actually I do enjoy this. And I can also say vlogging, oh yeah, that's a good other point. Vlogging actually helps me getting a stronger sense of myself, because it's different from a regular face-to-face human interaction. Because somebody like me who has a hard time holding their own sense of self as soon as other people come into the picture, because then I'm so much about it. It's so easy for me then to be in the, oh, what do they want? What do they like? And like, is that me? Like, when I'm just talking to the camera and there's nobody there, of course I know I'm going to be sharing this, but I can just be the way I am and convey myself, and it's not hard for me. So I feel like vlogging actually helps me strengthen this sense of self. And when you strengthen it, when you're on your own, because like when I'm all by myself without the camera, of course I know what to do, what I want, what I like, what I don't, all those things, but I can just do them on autopilot, so to say. I don't have to think about it. When the camera is involved and I'm vlogging, then it becomes more of a conscious process through the talking and through the choosing what I'm showing, because I don't stage anything. Like I wouldn't show anything in a vlog that I wouldn't do if the camera wasn't there. But of course I choose what I film and what I leave out. And so it kind of makes this unconscious process of living my life, it makes it conscious, and that helps me gain a stronger sense of self. And when you have a stronger sense of self, when you're by yourself, of course, it becomes easier to hold that self when others enter the picture. So I can definitely recommend vlogging as an exercise for getting to know yourself and getting to know your own preferences and boundaries. Yeah, if you want to make living life a more conscious process and just documenting your own journey. For me, I started out not vlogging, but with a blog. So I've always, in some form or shape, I have always shared parts of my life, and I've always been interested in both documenting my life and putting it out there, sharing it. And like, I don't know, I just like the idea of that we can share ourselves with the world that way. And it's kind of open to who wants to respond. Like it's different when you write a letter to a friend, or I don't know if anybody writes letters anymore, but if you send a voice message to a friend or a text or whatever, there's a certain, like, of course that puts the expectation, you want to have that specific interaction. When you put something out there through a YouTube channel or a podcast, you're leaving it up to whoever wants to respond, and that's something that is kind of interesting. So yes, I hope this helped you get some idea about what my motivation is for creating vlogs and creating podcasts, and that this helps you maybe sort through your own thought process. If you have been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, starting vlogging, starting a podcast, and by the way, you don't have to have fancy equipment. The camera, I bought that secondhand through, I don't know, eBay or something. I actually sometimes when I'm out in public, or when the battery of my camera is, when they've all died, then I actually use my iPhone to film. And it's fine. You don't have to start your YouTube channel or your podcast by buying the expensive equipment. Start with what you have and see if you enjoy it. And of course, sometimes it can come to a point where having the better equipment also makes it more enjoyable. But I wouldn't necessarily start there if you have no idea whether you will like this or not. So start with creating something. And I actually think creating a short can be, like, you can do mini vlogs as shorts. Like, just film a little bit throughout your day and play around with the voiceover and that type of stuff. That can help you get a sense of whether this is something you might enjoy. And yeah, definitely write me a comment and let me know if you do try it out. I would love to see what you do. And yes, as always, I'm looking forward to the conversations we have in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of this. Let me know what you would like to hear me speak more on, maybe when it comes to content creation, or when it comes to the question of deciding on whether you want to make your passion a business or keeping it a hobby like I just chose. And by the way, this isn't the first time that I chose that. And this is so funny because I was like, wait a minute, this is kind of a deja vu. I've been there before, where I tried to make my passion a business and then everything just kind of went south. And as soon as I came to the, okay, no, let's keep it a hobby or a side hustle, then everything, like the creativity was relieved again. And so it's so interesting that, yeah, I'm not the type of person who wants to turn their hobby into a business. It doesn't work for me. This has its value not because of the money. it has its value because of the joy. And in this case, the two aren't connected. And I know there is so much talk about, oh, follow your joy and the money will follow you. Actually, there's somebody who put out a really interesting video about that I highly recommend. And if you've been following me for a while, you might guess who it is, Teal Swan. I will link that below. She talks about what the difficulty with that connection is that is so often being made and why it's not that simple. And for me, it's definitely true, but the joy still has a value and it helps you also in making money, because when you have joy in your life, you have more energy. When you have more energy, then of course you also have more energy at your work that it maybe isn't technically this passion that you have for your hobby, but it can still be something that you enjoy doing, and then doing something in your free time that you enjoy. So like there is this aspect of filling your life with joy, and not all of it has to make money. And whatever you do, please remember that you are loved and worthy of all the good things you wish for, just the way you are. It's not about fixing you, it's always about finding the way that works for you.